Sailor Tarot Magic is the spot to get a reading from Sally, an intuitive healer and tarot reader. Known as the Nurturing Reader at New Jersey street fairs, you can also check out our YouTube channel for lunar and astro readings, as well as our Instagram for live weekly readings. Her rates are affordable, and you will leave with a newfound perspective. Sally is now offering an introductory class on tarot cards and intuition, and is available for parties. Call or text 732-314-0777 to schedule your reading today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Last Great Colosseum, the Bristol Motor Speedway, for the coverage of tonight's coverage of the BTDY Racing Series here live on VSPEED for race number 7, the penultimate race of the season, and race number 7 of the chase here presented by KHIO. And boy, oh boy, is it great to be here at the Last Great Colosseum, everybody. I'm Alex Martinez, the host here of here at VSPEED, and joining me tonight is my co-host and producer, Logan Throquet. Logan, it's great to be with you. The points have been shaken up the last 2 weeks at Dover and last week at Atlanta. And now we come in here to Bristol with only 20 points separating the top two. This is set up to be a really good race here tonight.
Man, not only just 20 points setting up between the top two, we've got Keith Mayato sitting right there in third, only 28 points behind. So if we see the string of bad luck that Jeff Wright has seen the last couple of weeks, we might see a potential of two drivers getting ahead of that 48 machine that's dominated with 10 wins on the season. Ronnie Osmer's still right there in the picture as well, just down 38 points. That's about 2 races worth, with Chris Samard down 40. Ray Massey will not be in attendance for tonight's race, so these chances of closing that gap, well, they're gone. James Loveland, Dallas Sullivan, Cody Atkins, Dennis Faircloth, Noah Mahalski, and the driver we haven't seen in the playoffs yet, Justin Carey, will make up your back half of the top 12.
And that will at least say for tonight that there are still 5 drivers mathematically possible of winning tonight. Let's take a look at our track facts here. Bristol Motor Speedway, a half mile of mayhem and 30-degree bankings in the turns, 5 degrees on the front stretch, and 5 degrees as well on the back stretch. In this race, only a half mile. These lap times will go by quick, about 14 to 15 second lap times, and as well as the difference of line changing, tire saving, and of course the mayhem and lap traffic as well that can come a part of Bristol.
You're absolutely correct about that. And, you know, being the penultimate race here before our championship is decided next week, it's really coming down to the wire. Really have enjoyed being here this season to witness all of it too with you, Alec.
It has been, and it's been a good one. And well, qualifying has just concluded. How about we take a look at our starting lineup for the Affinity for Gaming 225, and it looks like Ronnie Osmer is going to win the pole here with and let me be certain on that, a 14.9 flat, so 14.900, and to his outside it's going to be Keith Mayato. Row number 2 has James Loveland, and it's going to be his teammate who is looking to chase down Jeff Wright for the championship. Brody Hays rolls off 4th. Behind him is going to be teammate Chris Samard, and his championship rival Jeff Wright going to roll off in 6th. Row number 4 has Ryan Phillips in the 27th, his best qualifying effort of the season. And good to see Angelo Ronas, who's always been really good at Bristol. He'll roll off in 8th. And row number 5 is going to have Cody Atkins and Dennis Faircloth rolling off 9th and 10th.
Back here to bring up the back half of our 19-car field on the night, James Barker in the 28 machine will take 11th next to Max Cost in the 63 in 12th. 13th goes to Dallas Sullivan next to Alan Dice in 14th. 15th is Jake Mackey in the 13 machine next to newcomer Joe Mitchell in the 19, starting out in 16th. 17th will be Jace Coley in the 65 next to the 5 of Chase Abel. Might have some numbers mixed up here. Chase Abel starting in 18th. Last but not least will be Todd Giles Jr. in that 14 machine. They're coming down the backstretch already, Alec. Let's get to the live action.
Yes, they are, and it'll be 18 cars taking the field. Joe Mitchell not in the race, not in the field. That car will not take the green flag, but we'll remind you the 20-point gap between Hayes and Wright, 225 laps to settle, and we'll also take a look at our Rookie of the Year battle between Coley and Mackey. Into the restart zone they go. Green flag waves, and we are underway from the Bristol Motor Speedway.
There's hardly a better sound than 20 cars firing off the start line here in the Last Great Colosseum.
Not a better sound indeed, as here comes Osmer to lead lap 1, and like we said, these laps will click by really, really fast. You want to get down to the bottom early in these runs. Save that tire, save those Goodyear Racing Eagles. The top lane faster, but does burn tires off a little bit more. We'll see how these guys choose to manage their equipment and their stuff for 225 laps, in which we would assume there will probably be a pit stop or 2 that will be required if this thing is to go green, as we see teammates battling, and now championship rivals maybe going to battle a little bit right, starting to battle with Ronas, and then on the inside that's Loveland, the 0-2.
James Loveland holding tight on that left rear quarter panel. Jeff Wright already up 2 positions from 6th to 4th. Waiting for a moment here to get around the 36 of Keith Mayato, who's keeping it high up on the outside. Hasn't quite gotten an opportunity to slide in behind his teammate. This might be the opening that he needs. Let's see if he takes it here out of turn number 4. And he does. He's going to get behind his teammate, but not quite enough to get ahead of Jeff Wright there. Still leaving that door open on that bottom line.
And it's so good, and if you can tell for anybody who's familiar with iRacing, a little more updated Bristol Motor Speedway, and you're seeing it right now, the different colors of walls. That yellow line on the inside is right going all the way up around the outside.
He gets loose.
What a save from Jeff Wright, and that could have been another costly mistake from the 48 team, and who cannot afford a 18th place finish, as we got trouble in the back. Chase Abel and James Barker is around in that Cookout 28 machine, stuck on the apron, and the first caution of the evening is out on lap number 8, and it involves a 28 of James Barker, and he'll have to get that car refired and turned around, and we'll take a look at our VSPEED instant replay. It's like maybe similar to what happened to Jeff Wright. Just got caught off guard there. We're almost in the identical tire tracks of the 48, and a pretty solid shot to the inside retaining wall.
Yeah, not too bad, though. He's going to be able to get that thing going back here momentarily. Take it back one more time. Let's hop on board. Running that high line, and just throttles up a little bit too early, Alec. That'll do it right there.
And that'll do it. And some pretty significant damage to the front end. Probably, no, it doesn't look like it knocked the radiator in, but it's pushed in the nose, bent the splitter, so he's going to have a tough night to continue. And, you know, shout out to this guy in the 0 car. He did start, I think, close to 17th on the fill-up position, but this driver has gotten 2 top 10s in a row. His debut at Dover got 10th, and then backed it up with the top 5 last week at Atlanta. So Chase Abel having a good one. And like we said, I want to highlight another battle, that 13th place battle in points. And Jake Mackey and Jace Coley, both of them battling for Rookie of the Year, and both of them battling for that coveted 13th spot, and they are tied in points. So that Rookie of the Year battle is going to come down to the wire next week at Fontana if both of these drivers can, you know, stay within each other. And right now there's only 4 spots separating them. So, and Jace Coley rocking a new paint scheme, who had a great run last week, should have won at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And a wild race there, a hectic finish, and I think this one's shaping up to be a hectic race as well. And man, Bristol's good. It's good to have Bristol on this schedule, man. And surprised we're not under the lights. I was expecting to be under the lights, but I don't mind a day race here either.
Yeah, it's kind of early afternoon here. I doubt we'll see those lights kick on. It depends on how many cautions we have, of course. Typically, BTDY doing a great job of keeping these races nice and short. They don't like to be pacing a whole lot. But we'll find out. Bristol poses that higher challenge of driving.
It does, and I think maybe, just maybe, by the time we hit lap 200 or so, we'll possibly get lights on and more shade around this track, as it is in a Coliseum-esque grandstands around this racetrack. You can see 83 degrees Fahrenheit outside, or excuse me, on the track temp, so we'll see how that plays a role into the racing here. Green flag back out and back underway as Osmer leads him into turn 1, leading every lap, and it is a battle for third between Wright and Mayato.
Wright got that high line immediately going through 1 and 2, powered down. He's already nearly clear of Mayato. There it is. But Mayato charges back up on the inside here. That drive around the outside, yeah, it chews up those tires, but it is so fast. You can see Dennis Faircloth taking it now too. That's a new paint scheme for Faircloth as well.
It is, and I love seeing these guys move around the racetrack, and you can see Wright trying once again to get to the outside of Hayes. Hayes shuts the door, goes back down to the bottom. Wright goes up to the middle top lane, and it looks like he'll get to the right rear. Maybe not. Yes, he does. Hayes has to give him room, and now Wright to the outside, and Dennis Faircloth really utilizing that outside lane. We know he's not afraid to go high, wide, and handsome, and he is up to 4th place in that new Geico machine.
Wright was loose.
Wow. That moment, another moment there for the 48. These tires seeming to not have a lot of give. I mean, he's sliding that car around, has already maybe gotten the right rear a little bit hotter than he wants to. He's already had a big slide. We got trouble. Cody Atkins around. Oh, and he gets nailed by Todd Giles Jr. off of 2. And heavy damage to the pace car.
It's a good thing the pace car phases through.
Watch out for the leaders.
Oh,
Wow.
goodness.
Ronnie Archer almost got taken out by the 14 off of 2.
Coming across the front stretch here. Keep an eye on that white and yellow 55 loose through 2. nearly collects it back up. Max Koss does a fantastic job getting around that. Mackey gets tagged on the left front, and then Todd Giles Jr.
And Mackey has some pretty heavy left front damage, possibly some suspension damage. That front end looks towed in, or the left front looks towed in. I don't know how much damage Abel got, but here, this wreck happening, you can see the smoke. Oh, yeah, I mean, oh.
He got on the brakes early enough. It just seemed like the car didn't want to slow down in the corner.
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough there, and unfortunately, it'll probably be an end to Todd Giles' night, and possibly Cody Atkins, and we'll see about Jake Mackey and stuff and how he does. But that was a heavy hit to that left front.
Not a whole lot of damage there for the 13, though. I think he'll be able to continue without much problem at all.
That tire going out like that, I think that could be an issue for him. We'll see, though. Another thing to point out, full pit road here. So starts off of turn 2, ends off into turn 1. So almost a full lap around pit road once pit stops happen. So keep that in mind. I don't think anybody using the back pit stalls, but we'll see. As Ronnie Osmer trying to do his best William Byron impression from this past weekend at Darlington, leading every lap so far in this race, but don't count out Jeff Wright or Brody Hays to get around him, as they've shown really good speed here, and Faircloth's doing a good job utilizing that top lane. He's up to 4th, keeping that track position, but I got to wonder now, everybody using that outside lane, how much has it hurt their tires?
You know, that's always got to be a thought in the back of your mind, especially with the remodel of these short tracks. You can already start to see that rubber line being put down across the bottom and middle of the corner, and even across the top of the front stretch. You can see that definition start to come through where that rubber's getting laid down. It's going to change the handling here as well. This will be the first race that we've seen with that here at Bristol.
Yeah, and there's some shade now as the sun's starting to set behind the grandstand. So now you can see some shade all around this track. So makes you think we might see the lights come on. And another thing, like you said, with these new refreshed iRacing tracks, seems like they're able to move around a lot more and utilize different lines. So we'll see how much that'll keep changing throughout this race, especially even if we get to sunset and under nighttime conditions. As green flag back underway. Osmer gets away clean and green, and now it's battle for second between the top two of the championship. Jeff Wright able to at least get next to Hayes. Can Hayes get around him now, utilizing that outside lane? Can he clear? Will he tuck in behind Jeff Wright? Wright looks like he gets loose, and now Hayes jumps down to the bottom and clears the 48. And the 48 now rides on the bottom. Faircloth on the outside lane, trying to get by both Wright and Mayato. And now here comes Ronis in the 48. Or excuse me, in the 29, trying to follow that 80 as the 48 jumps up in front of Faircloth.
A whole lot of action right here in the top 5 even. These restarts, we see, one way down the track. That looks like Jace Coley.
Jace Coley, big moment. He saved it, though.
What a move there by the 65. Great save.
Great save indeed. And now you can just see that the 48 under some pressure here from Dennis Faircloth here as we continue this run. And Ronis
in the wall
there. Off of 4, and Faircloth pressuring the 48. We saw this at Chicagoland where Faircloth kind of forced Jeff Wright to go harder than he wanted, and he did. And Jeff Wright burned the tires up and allowed, I think it was Keith Mayato, to at least stay with him most of the run. So we'll see who will have this long run pace as Ronnie Osper continues to let every lap is out. Man, big moment there from Faircloth, and now here comes Ronis up on the outside. Again, around Keith Mayato, and I'm curious, maybe these guys on the bottom not really hooking the yellow line, but the 20 and the 37. Everybody else kind of diamonding up and swooping back down here as Faircloth continues to hold up these 3 behind him, and now Loveland into the picture.
Loveland's been just kind of laying in wait there. He's got 2 more behind. Chris Samard in the 77 on the bottom. Ryan Phillips up high in that white and blue 27. It looks like Phillips. We're finally starting to get a little bit more single-filed up here.
Phillips having a solid run as well inside the top 10, running 9th and tagging along here behind Chris Samard, not too far behind this little gaggle of race cars as he sits 2 seconds behind, and Osmer continues to lead. He'll lead on the lap 29. Hayes getting a little bit closer here But man, Ronnie Osmer doing a good job so far keeping that track position here. Now, Faircloth under pressure here from Keith Mayato and Angelo Ronis for 4th.
Faircloth stuck high up on the racetrack there. Mayato gets by. Angelo Ronis is going to close that door. Now it's James Loveland's turn to get into the equation here. It's that drive off the top that keeps you in the fight. You can see Ronis is nearly clear, but by the time they get back to 1, they're still door to door.
I don't know about you, but this is the race goes on. It reminds me that like old Bristol, you kind of just want to be on that bottom, keep your tires on. You get out of the groove, it helps for a little bit, but after laps click off, it doesn't seem to have that same grip on the bottom as it, or on the top as it does on the bottom. It just looks like Faircloth maybe burned his tires up a little bit here. Now everybody trying to get around to the bottom, but it is a tough pass to make because of the run. You can see that he gets off the corner. He almost makes some contact there with Loveland.
Luckily, nothing doing from that contact. You can surely expect to see more of that throughout the race.
Oh yeah, you can see fishtailing there from the 80, and now battle for the lead. Ronnie Osmer under pressure from Brody Hays, who sits about 7/10 of a second ahead of Jeff Wright. And how about the run that Brody Hays has been on lately? So good. 2 wins in a row, trying to make it 3. I just wondered maybe he got too hot too late, but man, he has really shown himself as a championship contender to compete with Jeff Wright these last couple of weeks. He's finished second to him a couple times, but he's beat him the last couple of weeks. And well, Brody Hays, he's trying. He's 20 points back. He needs Jeff Wright to have a little bit more misfortune in this race if he wants to have a chance at the championship next week at Auto Club Speedway. And now Osmer, a little bobble off of turn 1, off of 2, and now looks like Brody Hays starting to pressure a little bit as he goes low, looks low, and tries to pack a little air on that left rear quarter panel.
You can see right there just how loose you really want to be as now Hays looks to the outside, trying to get that drive off. Will he get to the right rear? Oh, that was a gap. He barely made it, though.
He made it work, and now trying to utilize that outside lane as he gets a run here, as he maybe tags the wall into turn number off of 2 and now into 3. Osmer slides the rear end into the corner, and Hays will get the lead away from Osmer and go straight back down to the bottom. Jeff Wright now going around the outside, trying to get to Osmer here as this run continues 40 laps down in the 225 lap race. And now Jeff Wright maybe up into the outside wall there in the middle of 1 and 2.
He was really close, but I don't think he quite got it. He still had a lot of pace coming off the corner. Now he's going to come off of 2, door to door with Ronnie Osmer all over the back bumper. He's going to go for the 2 for 1. How is this drive going to be off of 4? Not going to be enough.
It's going to be good. And now Hays is going to take that line away. Wright shoots back down to the bottom, trying to at least carry some of that momentum off the corner. And now you'll see them probably flip-flop into 3. And now both of them go to the bottom here. And now Wright trying to go up a little higher in the middle of the corner. But Hays now with the lead here at Bristol. And now he'll continue to run that inside. And I'll tell you this, Ronnie Osmer is the only one that has been on the bottom the entire race. I think all 43 laps, or all the laps they've been running under green, and every single lap, and even under caution, Osmer has been trying to paint that inside line, and I believe it's been work. We'll see if it works to his advantage. I'd have to think it might as this run continues. Everybody else kind of all over the racetrack. I think even Chris Samard has been very loyal to the bottom lane, kind of hooking those left side tires on that yellow line.
Mere inches between those inside tires and that yellow line, and it's been consistent every single time. That's about the widest that you've seen the 77 take 1 and 2. This being the closest battle on the track. Looks like a little bit further back, actually. Alan Dice has gotten some momentum here. Got around the 46 of Dallas Sullivan. Looking to the inside now of Ryan Phillips. This is for the 11th position. And there's that number mix-up I had mentioned. I knew that 5 belonged to somebody else.
Dice on the bottom here. Good to see him back in that Affinity for Gaming Chevrolet Camaro, and he'll look to get by Phillips here. Almost got clear, and I think into 1, and he'll get him and maybe clear him here off of 2. Now Sullivan trying to find a way to get around him here as they fall on the 13th. Mackey about to go a lap down as well. Abel about to go 4 laps down as the leader's closing up slowly, and now Osmer starting to pressure Jeff Wright once again as Wright goes to the outside. Osmer stays inside here, and the question is, how long can they go if we get green flag pit stops? How long is that going to be to lap maybe 100, 150?
I would have to say right in there with that 80% fuel load on the night. Certainly shortens what you would typically see. 225 laps. It's typically planned right there in that middle area, a little bit longer than middle for the short tracks. I'd say you're spot on, right in that 150 mark.
All right, here comes lappers here. Mackey gonna go a lap down, and now Hayes gets around him. Jeff Wright, big moment off of 4, slides the rear end, and now Osmer for the first time has to move around the racetrack to get by a lap car, and he's kind of been more stuck behind Jeff Wright. Now shoots to the outside here, trying to get a run on the 48. Is now Hayes underneath Chase Abel to put him 4 laps down, as Abel and Mackey both caught up in that most recent caution here. And this will be interesting to see if Osmer can maybe pin Jeff Wright behind Abel here and use him as a pick. He won't be able to, and now Abel will get passed by the 48 here off of turn 4. Osmer will have to wait another set of corners as Mayato starting to slowly but surely reel these drivers in.
Mayato needs a good points day here as well. Only 28 back now. Like I said,
Chris Samard, he's
possible.
fast.
Chris Samard's always fast. He's sneaky fast. That's probably why he's always sorry.
Yeah, and he's been on the bottom most of this run, and he is really turning some good lap times. Wasn't the fastest car on the track that last time, but had to get around a lapper. We'll see this time, though. That 77, lot more speed here as this run continues to go on. That time by an 860, so right on par with Hayes, and now he'll try to make a pass on the bottom here on Angelo Ronas, and I think Ronas not going to have any choice but to let the 77 go, who is really using that bottom right now. He is really liking it, and it seems to be working.
I was worried about that exit of that corner for the 77, but got just clear enough there. Angelo Ronas made that pass look pretty easy.
And we got a battle for second now. Osmer looking underneath Jeff Wright here, and Wright starting to struggle with the rotation in that car because Osmer now going to the inside. Watch out for James Barker up ahead. Oh, wow, that was almost an incident. As Barker's in the wall, and Jeff Wright gets into him. And Jeff Wright has to miss him, and it'll cost him a position, and it might cost him another one. Because here comes the 36 of Mayato, but Barker for the second week in a row almost with contact with Jeff Wright here. And now Ronnie Osmer moves up into second, and now Keith Mayato really starting to pressure the 48 for third.
Now this battle up here in the top 5 is going to be crazy all night long as all 4 of them make way around the 14 of Todd Giles Jr. That'll be the last lap traffic here for at least a couple laps.
Yeah, contact down the front stretch. Abel and Samard had a little bit of contact there off of 4, and Mayato now is working on trying to get by Wright. And that last lap, like I said, the 7-0 almost had an incident down the front stretch here. And now Angelo Ronas, James Loveland trying to go by and follow the 77 past the 0. Unfortunately, that's costed a little bit of time to the 77 to Samard, who is, about a half a tenth a lap slower that last time. But now up at the front, Jeff Wright falling back to the clutches of Mayato still, and Mayato's kind of stuck behind him as Hayes opening up about an 1/8 of a second gap over Osmer.
It's going to crest over here to about a second if he keeps up the pace that he's on. Ronnie Osmer nearly matching last time by. This time by, Osmer slower by about a tenth.
Just not having the run that he's been having, or the speed that he was hoping to have here, and I thought he maybe have a little more on this long run as he's been trying to run the bottom most of the time. And I think Hayes is trying to do his best, but had to take the lead there, and he hasn't looked back so far. As Mayato, I think, has a really good car as this run continues. He's just kind of stuck behind Jeff Wright, who continues to run that outside lane, and Brody Hays continuing to wrap that bottom here, and maybe a little bit higher than the yellow line, but he's the only car on the bottom, and it really seems to be working as this time he moves up. But, man, it's hard to pass when everybody gets back going on the top.
That it is. That top line is just so dominant in the speed department, but man, it really does just absolutely shred the tires in that long run. So you can't commit to it for too terribly long, but it's worth it if you can try to get the pass, as we see Alan Dice.
I like this camera angle outside. I do. I like this camera angle we have. We can see, look at the different lines being used by everybody. That is something I've really loved with this iRacing refresh that we've gotten. You can see these guys move all the way around, and it's looking good here as Mayato finally underneath Jeff Wright here, and see if he'll be able to clear him here. But man, it's really cool. It's really neat to see everybody using different lines here, and welcome sight. It's been missing for a while in Iris, so it's good to see here as Wright goes to the bottom here, and now my auto, see if he gets a run here off of 4. Doesn't look like it, and that'll keep him there, keep him at bay behind the 48. He's doing a good job being defensive here and holding off Keith Mayato.
Indeed he has, but Mayato still all over that bumper. It's got to be making the driver of the 48 slightly uncomfortable. No, Jeff Wright always thrives under pressure, but after too much, it can still take a toll on you.
Definitely can. These two are slowly running down Osmer, but Osmer's kind of been running the bottom here and not having as much momentum off the corners, but I'm sure if Osmer needs to, he'll probably jump down, and I'm surprised if maybe Keith Mayato doesn't maybe try the bottom here, see if he can get around Jeff Wright or get back to saving those tires a little bit and set him up for, who knows, another 40, 50 laps later into this run. And it's so crazy how fast the laps click off here at Bristol. I mean, 15, 16-second laps here. And these laps go by fast. And there's Dallas Sullivan trying to get by Max Cost here.
He was within about that 1/10 of a second here. Dallas Sullivan sending it into that corner there. Man, he got pretty deep into that one before he finally started to rotate that 46 Lego machine.
He did, and now Mayato fit really underneath the 48 of Wright here on using that bottom as Wright uses the top, maybe catches the wall there, and now Mayato almost pulls even with, but look at the momentum that the 48 carries into the corner.
You got that couple extra feet of downward slope that can really just help propel the car. Whenever you can't slide up all the way to the wall like Mayato wants to whenever he gets clear, it really hurts that drive off the corner.
Yeah. That's right. Just stays on the bottom. I think he's really, really falling off here. And you can tell Mayato's getting a little impatient. He's trying to do everything to get around the 48. Oh, there he is. The wall. This is his opportunity, but it just works so well to kind of use the wall and move off of it.
And it's almost like he picked up a couple mile an hour there, bouncing off the wall like that.
Hey, well, it works for Chastain, although that rule's been abolished. I think there's a wall riding rule here. You know, you can pop it. You don't want to keep using it. And look at this. Here comes Mayato. Finally gets to the outside here. This might be the pass for third. And Mayato finally gets to the right rear quarter panel of Jeff Wright. And I think this will be easy pickings for the 36, and it is. And Mayato moves up to third in a pass that seemed like it took 50 laps, or seemed like it took 20 to 30 laps to complete.
Yeah, that was a battle from start to finish there for Mayato. Finally gets the advantage that he wanted. He set up Jeff Wright perfectly to execute that pass around the outside like he had seen so many others do already this race.
And look at how much he's driven away from him. 6-7 tenths already ahead of the 48. I mean, Mayato, tell, was getting really held up by the 48, who is struggling right now. 0.3 of a second off of your leader, Brody Hays, and these are points getting bled here. And I got to ask you, is there a point for most laps led?
I believe there is a bonus point for most laps led, and I know there's bonus points for race winner.
There you go. Yeah, so a lot of points can be taken out of that points lead again, going into Auto Club Speedway next week at California. As now Keith Mayato Ronnie Osmer under pressure from Keith Mayato, Brody Hayes' teammate, who has some good long run speed. And that 36 really
contact with Ryan Phillips.
Phillips gets squeezed into the wall by Osmer. Oh man, Mayato gets to his inside, and he'll have to probably try to do a slide job into 3-1. He'll throw it into the corner, and he will clear the 20 of Osmer. And another quick pass for Mayato, but now almost 2 seconds behind teammate Brody Hays.
Man, that was best case scenario there for Keith Mayato on that one. He had a whole lot of pace to catch up to Ronnie Osmer as quickly as he did. And just good fortune there that he didn't have to battle Osmer as long as he did Jeff Wright. That's going to be a saving grace for the 36's tires.
Good, and that last time, a 10 taken out of the lead of Brody Hays. So good pace from Keith Mayato, who has been in some very exciting finishes and exciting races where he's won here at Bristol. We had a photo finish with Seth Hatchell here a couple seasons ago, and this is a good battle here. As you can see, Angelo Ronis starting to battle Chris Samard here for the 5th position, as he'll go to the outside of the 77, and he let Ronis let Samard go earlier, and now Samard repays the favor and lets Ronis go by.
Look at the speed of James Loveland coming up from behind. A little bit of assistance there, it looks like, from Chase Abel. Maybe a bump out of the corner or two has really propelled that 0-2 back to the back bumper of the 77.
I love on solid speed.
A little bit further back, though, Max Cost, Alice Sullivan battling for that 10th position. This is one that you typically see week after week between these two battling. They always put on a good show back here.
They're doing similar to what we saw with Wright and Mayato there. Kind of both of them on the top, one holding up the other. And I'll tell you what, right now, I mean, Keith Mayato has cut in a second already into Brody Hays' lead. 36 is fast.
Yeah, those tires are working great right now for Mayato. Not so much for Brody Hays, but he's not, too terribly off the pace. Mayato's just able to consistently put down hot lap after hot lap. There's another 10th for Mayato into Brody Hays' lead.
Kind of crazy how much speed he really has in that car. And he's turning 16.2s. The nearest lap time to him is a 16:34 set by Angelo Ronas the last lap. So he continues to turn 16.2s. I mean, he's 0.3 of a lap faster than Ronnie Osmer, who's now under pressure from Jeff Wright for third on the racetrack. Is Wright trying to get one of those positions back that he just lost. But Osmer struggling on that outside. Look at, he's fighting a loose condition off the corners here. Now Wright goes to the inside. Will try to clear up. I don't think he's going to be able to. And remember, these two are Osmer still in the points fight for the championship mathematically here. We'll have to see depending on where Wright finishes. But, oh, man, big slide from the 20. He'll lose that spot. And that 20 is really sliding at least the right rear around the racetrack, which is surprising, where you can see Wright maybe finding a little more of a tight condition.
That looks like Osmer just trying to drive off the corner a little bit harder. And he's just getting into that throttle a little bit too soon. You see that there's a bump out of turn number 4, right in the middle of the racetrack. It's just good enough that if you're on the throttle a little bit too soon, it'll kick that rear end sideways. And it takes a drive to save it.
And look at your leaderboard. Mayato has already closed to the back bumper of Hays. Ridiculous speed from the 36, and he goes to the bottom here trying to get by his teammate, and he'll clear him with ease. Mayato easily shoots to the lead. And on lap 95, Keith Mayato goes to the point ahead of Brody Hays, and the speed out of that 36 car is on another level compared to everybody else, and he pulls away from the 37 of Hays.
Mayato always quick at these short tracks. Just seems like sometimes gets wrapped up in a bit of bad luck. Right now, he's starting what could be a trend of a whole lot of laps led for Keith Mayato.
It's looking possible here, right? And Hays kind of trading lap times. I'll tell you what, Brody Hays is really struggling with the handling of his race cars. He's falling a half a second back already. Hays definitely fighting a tight condition. You can see how much he tracks up the corner and then has to cut it down. But a lot of these guys burning the tires in Mayato, I'm really surprised at how good he's been running kind of the middle of top lane, but he has saved his tires beautifully and is pulling out to a 6/10 of a second lead, and is soon to be closing up to the back half of the lead lap here. Alan Dice, Dallas Sullivan a little bit up the road, but he's closing quick. Great run in here, and good long green flag run here at BTDY, which we've been really accustomed to seeing here, most of this season. And lap 100, 125 laps to go. And man, Logan, does this race go by quick or what?
It surely does, with those 15, 16-second lap times, and with how cleanly BTDY likes to run these races. It goes by in a real hurry. Only about 40 or 35 minutes into this race so far, and we're nearing that halfway mark.
Oh, for sure, man. We're getting there. We're getting really close to halfway through this race, and man, what a wild start we had, and now as this run has gone on, it seems to be better. And how about Dennis Faircloth? He's caught back up to Samard, who I thought had really good long run pace, and maybe he's falling off a little bit now. Faircloth starting to reel him back in. Seeing a lot of comers and goers as 103 laps on these tires.
It all comes down to managing that tire wear, Alec. It's all about who can save as much rubber as possible whenever you expect these green flag runs. Here goes Faircloth to the inside. He's going to get there. Smart lets him go by. So Faircloth up to 7th now. 3 positions gained on the night.
I mean, we got so many laps on these tires. I wonder if we're nearing the possibility of somebody blowing a tire here, blowing a right front tire here. That tends to be something that happens here. Smart came close to getting the wall here, but you know, I've seen it before where drivers pop a right front or a right rear tire at Bristol, and right now, I mean, you're seeing some guys really struggle on pace here, and still Sullivan kind of stuck behind the 63 Acosta. Now cutting down here, this is probably the closest he's been, and trying to find a way around him as he goes to the bottom here, but he's going to slide up the racetrack, get loose underneath of him, keeps his foot in it, but he just can't clear the 63.
Well, Sullivan's been real close multiple times here tonight. Just seems like just about every time he gets there, something happens where he gets loose. Angelo Ronas, he's bringing it down pit road early.
And this is a grueling pit road to go down. This is 35 miles an hour. And to make things worse, it's a whole lap at 35 miles an hour. He's going to lose 2 to 3 laps here after a pit stop. So what he needs is this run to cycle all the way through so he doesn't get trapped a lap 3 or 4 laps or 2 or 3 laps down, because that's most likely a race-ending caution that can happen to you so quick here at Bristol. As Sullivan finally going to clear caution. No, he doesn't! And Sullivan gets up and into the wall. And you can see that right front damage there to Sullivan. I don't know how that wasn't a caution, but I think his suspension is bent on that 46 car. But we'll have to take a look at a replay there as Jeff Wright brought it in. But a heavy hit there to the right front of Dallas Sullivan.
Sullivan down here on the bottom, coming out of turn number 4. Oh. There it is. Just contact there, coming across the stripe. It doesn't look that hard, but man, that's a lot of body damage there on the right front, and especially like you had mentioned, a very high risk of suspension damage for the 46. As you see, he's struggling now, putting it back into the wall all by himself.
My auto, Jeff Wright all coming in here. Ooh, Wright, man, he cut it close there, exiting pit run. I wonder if he'll get a blend line violation, a possibility. I don't think he did though, but cut it close there off of 2. And right now you're starting to see my auto is in pit road, and I believe Angelo Ronas already brought it down. Brody Hays is getting service to his car. He'll be out of pit road soon. And now Loveland is in. Samard is in.
Coley, Koss, Alan Dice now too. So just about everybody in the field. Except for that 20 car.
It was going to be really close between Hays and Wright here for position. And Jeff Wright with the undercut is going to get by. And I think he's going to cycle to the lead. And Osmer staying out long here, and if he can catch a caution, look at how many drivers are a lap down.
Just about the entire field. Only 3 remain on the lead lap. Ronnie Osmer, Dennis Faircloth, Dallas Sullivan, and then a couple of drivers that still haven't pit. Ryan Phillips, Jake Mackey. They've yet to bring it down pit road. They are both 1 lap down already. Right to the outside now of Keith Mayato.
Oh, this is a big battle here, and let's see where he... Oh, they're going to have to split Phillips here.
Split Phillips.
Wright goes all the way to the wall, and he barely holds on to the position on the outside. Mayato stays right to the inside of Jeff Wright, and this is going to be a battle for what will eventually be the lead. And Mayato with about 3-lap fresher tires here, so we'll see how much that will help the 48. And Ronas with about 5-lap fresher older tires than Keith Mayato. And man, look at this that we saw here, them splitting the 27 to Phillips. That is a helpless feeling if you're the 27.
They just stayed out of the gas completely. I can't say I blame them whatsoever.
Now Sullivan has yet to pit. Oh, there's some smoke off of turn number 2. Looked like, I don't know who that was. Maybe Chase Abel in the fire. Almost went around. Somebody almost went around there. And they
Ronnie Osmer probably. He is all over the place right now.
Oh, look at this. We're going to have to split him again. Oh, that hurts Jeff Wright, though, off the exit of the corner. Now here comes Mayato. Back down to the inside. Does he use Abel as a pick off of turn number 4? Yes, he does. There's almost contact. Wright's going to have to, or Mayato's going to have to set it up and slide him. He can't. And now Wright holds onto the position, and now there's a couple lap cars ahead. Where do they go on the racetrack? They stay bottom, and now Mayato will have to go behind Jeff Wright to get around Mackey and Barker.
What a sequence between these two. And you see that Brody Hays machine just waiting back there for one of them to make a mistake. Ronnie Osmer, Faircloth, Sullivan still all turning laps right now, hoping for a caution.
Yeah, they're hoping and praying for a caution because they're 122 laps into the run. They're going to have way better tires, but they're going to lose a lot of time here as Jeff Wright stays in the lead ahead of Keith Mayato, will be if the cycle completes once Osmer and Faircloth and Sullivan all bring it in. But look at the top four now all together. Brody Hays has caught these guys.
That he has, but how well is he taking care of the tires, trying to catch them?
I can tell you he's not burning them up as much as Mayato and Wright are. And here comes, how about this? Ronnie Osmer getting passed by Faircloth. Osmer is struggling with that 20 car. He might have a right rear tire going down.
He's got some sort of a handling issue. Those tires are gone, if not destroyed. Finally brings it down.
And Faircloth comes into pit road, so that leaves Dallas Sullivan on the racetrack with the race lead, and Phillips back on the lead lap. And ooh, watch out here as Wright and Mayato and Rodas and Hayes all going to have to get around Sullivan. Now they get back on the lead lap, so if a caution comes out, it won't hurt them anymore. And the cycle is just about almost complete here as Hayes moves up to the 29 out of the groove, and Hayes moves up into third.
Ooh, and a big dive there for the 37 machine. He wants to get back to that lead in a hurry.
See, a lot of these guys, Osmer and Faircloth, are going to have to go about 100 laps here on a set of tires, where everybody else is going to have to go about 113, 120 laps on their sets of tires.
Some more lap traffic now becoming a factor. They've worked their way around Ryan Phillips. Now Todd Giles Jr. goes to the bottom.
Sullivan and pit road. And I got to ask, how can you not love the Bristol Motor Speedway? What great racing we've seen here as Jeff Wright holding on here. Look at this. Mayato to the inside. Hayes goes even lower for the lead. 3 wide off of 2. They hold on to it. And now Mayato back down to the bottom.
It's Mayato living on that yellow line. That's where he's wanted to be the entire time. Jeff Wright pinches him way lower than expected.
Gotta be careful.
Mayato sent it through the center of that corner that time, keeping him right high. See Brody Hays looking for that opportunity on the bottom once more. He's not afraid to send it 3 wide, it seems.
He's not. And you got to be careful, though, when you go on the outside or the inside like that, where you get tight or loose and slide up into him and catch him in the left rear and spin him out. Or you have something similar to what happened between Matt Kenseth and Tony Stewart in 2012 here, where they both meet up off of the corner and slide down and kind of take each other out and slide into the inside wall.
That's not the situation that you want if you're Brody Hays or Keith Mayato. Obviously, you don't wish any ill will on another driver, but Jeff Wright being in the lead right now for these two is a worst-case scenario.
And that'll lock up that championship for him if he can win this race.
It absolutely will. That makes it impossible for anybody to come back from that.
That or unless, 20-something cars show up next week. So possible, but we'll have to see. But right there, if he can hold on and win this race, I would think would all but do it and lock that championship up for Jeff Wright here. Is now Brody Hays under pressure from Angelo Ronas on the outside, is right on board with the 29 Ford Mustang as he tags the wall off of turn number 4 and now fights around the 37 here and will get around him, and he does.
Sounded like a little bit of contact there on that corner exit.
Hayes being very loyal to the bottom here, and now more lap traffic here ahead of Jeff Wright. So will this at least propel Keith Mayato a little bit closer or further away here as they both go to the outside here to get by Mackey and Barker?
Mackey and Barker doing a great job of staying out of the way here, keeping to that bottom line as best as possible. They know these leaders are comfortable running that high line where they've been finding their speed all night long. So stay out of their racing line, and they've done a fantastic job of being respectful of doing so.
And Sullivan's got to be careful here to not, he's going to be coming to unlap himself, and he's got 20 lap fresher tires, so I think he'll get by the leaders here very quick. Although he's got damage, but he is, coming at a high rate of speed here, and I think he'll be an easy driver to at least get himself back 1 lap down here. And Alan Dye sitting 1 lap down right now, and, long way to go in this run. I'll tell you what, though, Ronas looks like he's the best car right now out of these top 4 here that are just nose to tail.
Aronis has found a good bit of speed here since the tire refresh, and it does help. There's quite a bit of shade now.
Yeah, I was going to change how this track works and how it handles and how these cars handle. Here comes my auto to the bottom. Once again, going to the inside of Jeff Wright here. He'll slide up, try to force the 48 around and maybe out of the groove into the marbles. Can't do it, and he holds on to the position. Wright maybe starting to fade a little bit as he's pushed those tires hard on the outside. Mayato fighting on the inside, and Ronis waiting in the wings as those two get together, as well as Brody Hays.
Brody Hays looking now to the inside of Ronis.
Sullivan coming with way fresh tires. He's trying to get back to one lap down, and I think Hays is going to clear here. Here comes Sullivan to the bottom. Hays is probably just going to let Sullivan go. No, he won't. And I got to think sooner Sullivan's going to try to find a way around him because his tire advantage is so huge that it's going to be easy pickings for him to get by all these guys. He'll probably try to race them respectfully, and I would assume, and he does just do that, and tries to get by. He's already gotten by two of them, and will set his eyes on these two that are trying to battle for this race lead.
46 keeping it nice and low. He sees these leaders arcing out, nearly getting into the wall in some of these laps. Looks like he's going to keep it right there on the bottom to make his moves.
And he knows if a caution comes out, his race is over. He is 2 laps down. Jeff Wright is at least a ticket to his race still being alive if a caution comes out here. He needs to get by the 48 here. He's made quick work of from second to third. Now he's got to make quick work of the leader, Jeff Wright, in which he has a 25-lap advantage on tires. And all the lap cars, believe it or not, are going to come and pass these leaders because they all have way fresher tires.
On paper, it should be quick, but it likely won't as Sullivan makes contact with the wall out of that corner.
And Sullivan, remember, he has damage to the front end of that 46 car here, so this tire, the camera's not all the way straight here as he would like it to be, but he's got to find a way around Jeff Wright here, and Jeff Wright's going to probably, I guess, try to race him because I don't think he wants to have a car ahead of him, but I don't know if he's going to have much of an answer for him. As Sullivan going to the inside now, and here comes Mayato and Hays battling, and there goes Sullivan by the race leader, and now he'll kind of back up right back to the rest of these guys, and here comes Faircloth to the bottom here, who also has fresher tires and is in the same boat as Dallas Sullivan in terms of getting laps back. He sits 2 laps down, or excuse me, 1 lap down, and might I point out, if Faircloth gets his lap back, he'll be back on the lead lap, and he has 15 lap fresher tires than everybody. Will that be the difference in maybe getting Faircloth the top 5?
That very well could be. You know, this 1 lap, it doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot. Oh, as he slides up in front of Keith Mayato. Mayato's surely not going to be happy about that one.
Yeah, he's not going to. That cost him a couple tenths here, but now got to go and get by Jeff Wright, get his lap back, and Faircloth's going to try to get by Jeff Wright here, get his lap back. He needs to do it quick, though.
Cannot dilly-dally around whenever you're looking for this position here. Get yourself unlapped. Maybe good fortune will fall your way. You can catch back up to the group. But it's going to be quite the drive here as we are 75 laps away from the end of this race.
We are, and here comes Faircloth to the bottom, trying to get up ahead of Jeff Wright here. Wright goes to the top, has to get away from Keith Mayato, and Faircloth gets back onto the lead lap here. And that last lap, getting by him, was 0.4 of a second faster. If he was able to keep this pace up, he would run these guys down again. But is he conserving his tires enough is the question as he sits ahead of Jeff Wright. And now Mayato starting to pressure the 48 just a little bit more as Hays and Ronis continue to stay where they are just behind them. And now Mayato back down to the inside.
One thing we haven't quite talked about is the dirty air that is now affecting the 48 machine. He hasn't had a whole lot of that, you know, at the points where we saw him in 4th place. There's a half-second gap or so.
Just couldn't do it. I thought he had a chance to stick to that right side. He just couldn't do it. And now Hays fighting on the inside here.
He's finding some of that extra speed now.
Is this not great or what, Logan? This is awesome.
This is fantastic. You got to love a good green flag run at Bristol.
How can you not? 3 different lanes being utilized, and it seems like Jeff Wright's kind of holding up everybody because don't look now. Loveland is 2.5 seconds behind them with 4 lap fresher tires. and Samard, who's like a couple seconds behind, but they're bringing Loveland into this fight. This could be a 5-car battle for the lead or for the win. And now Ronnie Osmer going to probably try to get one of his lap back.
Osmer's only the 1 lap down too, and he's right around that 15 to 20, depending on who we want to talk about here in the top 5.
Yeah, and he's got the same tires that Faircloth has, so he's got a little bit more pace. That last time he was only a 10th faster, Faircloth was, but Osmer was about a 10th or so, almost 2 tenths faster. So he's going to make quick work of these two here, the top 2. He's got to do it clean as possible, but get by them quick. You know, don't affect their racing for the win and their race for the lead, but get yourself back on the lead lap here.
Osmer to the inside now of Mayato. He'll get a good run through the center of the corner. He'll get clear of the 36. Now just one more to get around. Jeff Wright keeps it right there in the middle. Doesn't give Osmer a whole lot of room. Trying to put some room between himself and second place. Now back up to the high line through 1 and 2. Osmer will surely get around here this time. Apologize, 3 and 4.
Jeff just might want to let him go here because you don't want to race harder than you need to try to keep him lap down, run the top. It's a lot of things to manage here, and man, we're closing up here to 60 laps to go, and this race is going to be over in what has been an hour, and we're almost 170 laps down, almost 170 laps into this race. So shows how quick these lap times go by here with Bristol, and man, oh man, and you can see, man, Jeff's struggling. I think he's holding these guys up, but it's just can they find a way around him?
You know, it's a really, really good fast race whenever your top 4 are separated by just over a half second, Alec.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. It shows just how good and competitive BTDY is, and can't wait to see what next season has in store here for these guys on Tuesday nights. Is Jeff Wright looking to lock up a championship here tonight, but he won't do that if he gets passed by Mayato, Hays, and Loveland, or gets passed by 2 of the 3. As Wright will just... We've got to wonder, has he saved enough of those tires? Have any of these guys saved enough of their tires?
That is the biggest question at hand. Right now, we're on board with the 29 of Angelo Bronis. Taking a look at what it's like to be at the back end of this snake and see what he is doing in terms of tire saving here. Seems he's pretty well off the throttle for most of the corner. He's still trying to...
Smart. Into pit road, cutting this race into thirds. See if that works, maybe. A Samard into pit road. I saw his name going red as he came down pit road, and he has, in fact, brought it in. We'll have to see if this even has a chance of working, because I don't see these leaders coming in, and they're running about a second, 1.2 seconds off of their fastest laps. So if you're going a second to lap faster than everybody, then there's a chance, but he's going to have to make up 3 laps, most likely. I don't know if that's going to work. We'll see, as he's going to be a lot faster than everybody else on the racetrack. So gonna need this to go green to see where he cycles out here, as these top 3 now pulling away a little bit from the 29 of Bronis.
So he's gonna cycle out about mid-pack here. Should be right around Ronnie Osmer. Oh, Mayato to the inside. No contact made.
Moved him up a little bit and didn't really hit him there, but he stays under him. Now back down to the bottom here, almost into the quarter panel of the 48.
Man, it's getting dicey.
Sure is, and Wright continues to lead this race, but maybe struggling a little bit on pace as Ronas has completely lost these guys. Falling 1.4 seconds back. Now Mayato back down to the bottom. A little contact into 3. Back underneath him. Can he get around him? No, he can't. Momentum for the 48 off the corner. Mayato stays bottom, slides up into 1. They're side by side through 1 and 2 and off of 2. Right, fishtails the car off of 2, and now Mayato door to door with them off of 4. Oh, Wright had to get out of the gas. Mayato leads the lap at the line. Slides up the racetrack. Wright gets into the marbles just a little bit, but he holds on with momentum and he clears the 36 again. Lap traffic gonna come into play here.
Brody Hays just laying in wait, saving his tires while these two are absolutely going blow for blow right now.
Ooh, Mayato taps the wall there, trying to get a run here on Jeff Wright, who you could tell is struggling here. I don't know if maybe Mayato and Wright pushing their tires a little too hard here. from the beginning of their run. Mayato's tires are fresher, and Hayes as well, fresher than the 48 of Wright. And you could see Angelo Ronis has lost these three. He is nowhere to be found. And the one driver who is closing up is Chris Simard, who has way fresher tires than these guys, and with ease goes by them. But you can't count out James Loveland as well. He sits 3 seconds behind, and he's reeled in Ronis. Can he reel these top three in as they continue to race each other?
James Loveland with the freshest tires in the top 5. And he's running about the same lap times. He's not making up a whole lot of ground right now. He'll certainly have to push. Brody Hays was a 10th faster than both Jeff Wright and Keith Mayato last time by.
Big lap out of Hayes, a 15.9. That's big. And remember, these guys still have to go another 50 laps.
That's going to be a tall ask if these two. Oh, my goodness, there's yellow on the field.
Wow. And that, it looks like, I can't really tell, and that's going to really hurt Keith Mayato, or excuse me, that's going to hurt, it's Jake Mackey in the 13. That's going to hurt Chris Simard, who's trapped 2 laps down. But our third caution of the evening, after an amazing long run, is going to come out with Jake Mackey, and it looks like, clipped the apron, and he went around. Oh, wow, that's, yeah.
Man, that was...
But I guess so, and that's going to be the caution. And now Jeff Wright, where he wants to be in clean air, got to have a solid pit stop here to keep it. And we'll see if that does the job. And now we'll have to see who gets out of pit road first. Is anybody daring enough to take 2?
You know, that's a really good question. That is quite the strategy call. It might just pay out though. 40 laps are remaining, roughly. That's, I don't know. I feel like 4 is definitely the safe bet.
That's going to be something to see here. We'll see. As pit stops here, Mayato about a 10th down pit road here. So Wright has a little bit of room here to kind of just have a slower pit stop here. We'll see. I don't know. It's going to be close off of pit road. Who can get through their box well? Who can have the best pit stop? See if anybody is willing to take 2 tires. Osmer's still coming through his box. I don't think you will see him take 2. And everybody getting the service to their race cars. Jeff Wright goes away, and I think he's going to get the lead off of pit road. He will, with ease, and that might be the championship sealing pit stop.
It very well could. That was man, that was a lot closer between Keith Mayato and Brody Hays than I thought it was going to be as well. Mayato really got the tires spun up trying to get out of his box there.
Yeah,
didn't pay out for the 36, but maybe a little extra heat will help him on this restart.
We'll see. And well, it's been a long, quick green flag race. We'll give a shout out to some of our sponsors before we go green, and we'll be right back after a quick commercial break to catch the restart here from Bristol. As actually, now that I say that, have we already won the green?
I think we might have. No, it looks like they're doubled up. I think we're a little bit too late.
We are wondering. Yeah, these cautions go. Everything goes by quick here at Bristol. I'll tell you that. Now, this race will go by quick because this will only be about 10 more minutes of racing if we go green to the end.
That it will. Coming to green with just 42 laps remaining.
The field doubled up right on the outside. Mayato on the inside. Can he keep the track position? Into the Geico restart zone they go. Green flag is out and he's underway, and we're back underway. Spinning tires on the inside. This could be all right. Needs to get a teammate to be a gunner for him on the outside of Angelo Ronis. Oh, he catches the wall there off of turn number 2. And Ronis keeps on to the position and he holds on off of 2. Hayes shuts the door on Coley off of 4. Keeps into it. Now here comes Mayato on the bottom. Jeff Wright bobbles. He hits the wall. Mayato tried to clear on the inside. Can he do it? No, he can't. He holds onto it. Coley into the side of Brody Hays. And Ronis goes way up the track. Coley up to 4th. Mayato and Wright battling for the lead. Mayato feeds the fender, gets sideways off of 4. Coley jumps sideways. They still battle side by side. Right up and into the wall. Now there's almost contact off of 2. More contact into 3. Right up into the wall. still side by side for the lead into one. Little door contact between the top two. Wright powers around on the outside. Contact again. Wright clears it at 3. Hayes utilizing the bottom. Coley off of 4, holding off Loveland for 4th.
Here comes Loveland low, looking to that inside line. Coley into the wall. Loveland's going to send it deep on that bottom line. Will he get clear out of turn 4? No, side by side back across the line.
Here comes Ronnie Osmer in the 20, the pole sitter, who was able to get back on the lead lap. Now back up into 6th. He's gotten by Ronis as Wright holding up this line on the outside. Here comes Loveland around the inside, trying to get by Coley, but is not going to be able to clear here as Mayato tries and pulls and claws his way back up to the 48. And now he's going to close up to the back bumper of his teammate as Loveland going to be able to clear Coley here off of 4. He'll slide up in front of the 65 who tags the wall off of 4. It's a 7-car breakaway here. And remember, a lot of guys took the wave around. There will be lap traffic to deal with by the end of this race. Those guys lapping a second a lap slower, they will get to the lap traffic. That could be the difference in who wins and who loses this race, as it is a 7-car fight for the lead. Jeff Wright on the outside. Loveland pinned on the inside with Osmer and Coley in that Bass Pro Shop 65, trying to go make it 2 podiums in a row. And a little bumper tag from Mayato to Wright. He moves him out of the way.
Oh, and Brody Hays nearly sends it 3 wide.
They're still side by side for the lead. Mayato gonna have to feed him a fender if he wants to get by. Sullivan on the bottom, a lap car. This time, Mayato's gonna have a fender clear. He can't do it. Wright gets into the wall. Brody Hays with the moment, 3 wide behind Coley into Hayes. That could be Hayes' championship going up in smoke.
Oh man, Mayato gets very loose on the bottom.
Mayato got really loose on the bottom, saves it, but here comes Loveland and Coley to close up. Coley shoots middle, can't do it. Faircloth closing up. It is an 8-car race for the lead here at Bristol. Now Loveland fighting on the bottom. Can Loveland find a way around? Can he challenge Jeff Wright and get his first win in a long time? Coley looking for his first career BTDY win. Osmer doing the same. Osmer gets sideways off of 2. Jeff Wright holding on to this lead. Can James Loveland have anything to say about this as he looks at the bottom?
Coley goes sideways.
Coley gets turned by Brody Hays and he sits in the middle of the track and the caution comes out. And his best run on a non-super speedway comes out, and it comes to an end after contact with, I believe, championship contender Brody Hays. And another caution and another wrench thrown in to what has been an insane race, and there it is, a misjudgment from Hays spinning the 65. Man, oh man. Oh. Man, look at here, yeah, just a little misjudgment then. I think Angelo Ronis might have ran into the 37 or the 36 of Mayato under caution. And we'll take a look at what has happened, or we'll take a look at what happened here, and we'll see pit stops going to be happening here. And one more look here, Brody Hays on the inside here. I don't know about you, Logan. It looks like it's just a misjudgment there, and he tags the 65.
Yeah, maybe the 65 even a little bit loose there on the outside.
Yeah, we'll see now everybody to pit road here. Only 19 laps on the tires. What is everybody going to do?
This might be that time for that 2-tire call.
That's what I'm thinking. I think you got to see somebody's going to take a gamble here. And now 10 cars on the lead lap here after the wave around and everything has happened. But Jeff Wright, a 2/10 gap on the pit road again. And you can see Coley just sitting in his pit box, smoke blazing out of that race car. Now everybody into pit road. We'll see if Jeff Wright maybe takes 2, if anybody is willing to take 2. It's like 4 tires going on the 48 car. I don't think anybody's going to take 2 here. Everybody taking 4. Surprising. Oh, no, there it is, Ronnie Osmer.
Ronnie Osmer.
And I want to point out, Keith Mayato has left rear damage. That could be from contact with Angelo Ronis. under caution.
Very well could be. Man, what a play by the 20 of Osmer.
Wow. Looking for his first win. I'm just wondering to see how much is that damage going to hurt Keith Mayato. That's a sensitive part of the race car to be damaged. Osmer only 19 laps on those tires. Is it going to be enough? He's going to be loose. Can he hold on to the lead?
Oh, Loveland into the back end of Jeff Wright there. Not sure what happened there for the 0-2.
I think he just tapped him. It doesn't look like too much damage here. But this now is all over. Osmer looking to get some wins, take some points out of that championship lead. And there's going to be 22 laps to decide it here. Can Jeff Wright hold on, or can he beat Arnie Osmer? Can Osmer hold on in 2 tires? Into the restart zone they go. Osmer gets away, and he's gone. Can he clear up and get ahead of Jeff Wright into turn number 1? He's going to have to get up here. He does. Oh, Wright takes the wall off of 2. And now Osmer shoots up to the outside. Here comes Mayato with the run. Osmer pulling away from Jeff Wright.
Osmer's had speed all night. This might be the run that he needs as we come across. This time by will be 20 to go.
There will be 20 laps to go at the start-finish line. Osmer looking for his first career BTDY win. He's been knocking on the door for a couple weeks now. Can he get it done tonight with a 2-tire strategy call? He goes to the bottom as Wright knocks the wall down. Mayato, Loveland, and then there's Ronas, Faircloth, Samard, Dice, Cost, Hayes, the top 10. Hayes running in 10th. He's going to need some more spots if he wants a chance at a championship. Here comes Mayato getting a little loose there off of turn number 4, or off of 2, and now Loveland shoots up to 3rd. Maybe the left rear damage starting to pay a little bit of dividends to the 36 who's sliding around.
Jeff Wright's closing that door to the 20 of Osmer now. Wright really liking that high line. Those 4 tires might be the difference here. See how long Ronnie Osmer can hold on. See if he can stick this 20 down there on that yellow line. Hold on to those inside tires as long as possible.
Osmer has been all over. He's got to stay top here. He cannot give Jeff Wright the top. He goes up, he covers Jeff Wright, and he'll do that. And here comes James Loveland in the 0-2 arriving on the scene in 3rd. Can they find a way to beat the points leader, the championship leader, who looks like he's going to lock up his 3rd championship as they go into turn number 1? Osmer holds on to the lead. 4th are going to be coming soon to 10 laps to go, 14 to go. Here comes Ronas underneath Keith Mayato. It is unraveling for the 36 and 37. Heavy damage to Keith Mayato.
Chris Samard back on the lead lap now. He's up in the 5th. He's getting around Mayato as Mayato makes contact with the wall once again. Then is Faircloth right behind that action too.
He is, and now it's a battle for the lead. Wright trying to find a way around Osmer, who gets loose off of turn number 2. Can Wright force Osmer into a mistake? And if he does, who gets that mistake? There it is! Jeff Wright almost clears into Osmer! Osmer tries to hold on to the right rear. He can't! And Jeff Wright powers to the lead, and Osmer tags the wall! And he gets into Loveland, the 2-tire call, not gonna work! And Jeff Wright goes back to the race lead!
See if James Loveland has anything to say about it as he moves around the 46 of Dallas Sullivan. Loveland with a good shot here.
Does Loveland have anything for Jeff Wright, who just needs to keep it clean here for the next couple laps, and he will walk away with the championship? Here comes Loveland to the inside. He looks to get under Wright. He can't do it. 10 to go, coming to 9 to go. Loveland on the inside can't do it. We'll have to tuck back in line. Caution comes out. Trouble, it's Alan Dice on the backstretch. And a caution again comes out. And what do these drivers do now?
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do is send it back to the instant replay here. Find out what happened to Alan Dice. Makes it through, just a little bit too early on the throttle. Nearly takes out Dallas Sullivan.
And that gives Ryan Phillips the lucky dog here. And what a shame. And I was shaping up to be a good finish. And now another restart in hands. What do these drivers decide to do?
This might be that opportunity that James Loveland needed here.
Wright looks to stay out. Here comes Osmer. Here comes... Oh, Osmer stays out. Samard, Faircloth come in. I got to think Brody Hays and a couple other drivers going to come in and get some fresh tires here for what will be a 5 or 6 lap run.
Samard, Faircloth, Hays, Cost, all coming down. Be interesting to see. We don't have a whole lot of laps left. By the time we get back green, it should be only 5 to go, Alec.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get around Jeff Wright. If Loveland can time it right and stay to the outside of Jeff Wright, that's going to be his only chance other than moving him. And we'll see if these tires that have came in, I doubt they're going to be able to get up to the field much. I don't know how. They're going to be restarting 6. There's a chance. But with Jeff Wright leading this race, that's not what Keith Maiato and Brody Hays want to see.
No, not at all. As Brody Hays, he's now out of his box. He should cycle back to the 9th position here. So that's going to be a damper on his day as well. That'll force him to start on the inside line. It's going to be quite the challenge.
Chris Samard, I believe, is going to be restarting on the outside here. He's going to be in the line where the leader restarts here. So Chris Samard, if he can get a couple spots on this restart, he's going to have 5 laps to see if he can run down Jeff Wright and get to him.
Brody Hays gets really lucky. Ryan Phillips picks up a black flag and has to fall back through the field. So Hays will now restart right behind teammate Chris Samard on that outside line.
Speeding on pit road for Loveland. And this will shape up to be a 5-lap shootout at the Last Great Colosseum. Loveland on the inside, Wright on the outside. Behind them, it's Osmer and Ronis. Into the restart zone they go. Green flag back out. Back underway. Can't change lines before the start-finish line. Loveland doesn't get going. Can Samard fire up those tires quick enough to get up to them? Ronis up to 2nd. Battling with Loveland. That might be all Jeff Wright needs to get this win. Battle for 2nd. What's more? Almost contact between Ronis and Loveland. 4 to go at the line. Ronis now fights around on the outside, trying to get by Loveland. Osmer has a moment off of 2. Here comes Hays behind Samard. Is there enough time? 3 to go.
Oh, does Faircloth sideways.
Flying around, and there's another caution. We're going to overtime. And it looks like Keith Maiato might have picked up some damage. And there's another caution, and now we're going to overtime.
It looks like a little bit more left rear damage there for the 36. Take it back to the instant replay here. Find out what happened to Dennis. Oh, it's going to be on the right front there for Maiato now. Just got loose out of 4.
And now this will be interesting. Where does Jeff Wright decide to choose? Because Chris Samard, if he picks the outside lane, Samard's going to be right behind him for the restart. And they see it again. I just got loose, and Maiato's just there. And unfortunate there for those guys to get caught up in that. For Maiato's day to just keep getting worse. Sullivan going to be the lucky dog here. I believe go back to 1 lap down, and he's going to need another caution to get back on the lead lap. But what a crazy race this has been. Angelo Ronis now up to 2nd, excuse me. Loveland back down to 3rd. Samard is 4th, and how about Brody Hays in 5th?
Yeah, Hays able to pick up a couple spots on that restart. This will be very imperative for the 37. Yeah. This starting out here in 5th will put him on that inside line, which is such a disadvantage.
The disadvantage that the leader pits, Osmer came in, and so did Maiato. They're coming in to save face here, and be interested to see here. How about Max Cost in 6th?
Yeah, good points day for the 63 machine back here. Yeah, we saw him battling quite a bit there at the back half of the top 10, mostly with Dallas Sullivan. Finally able to get away, and he makes progress.
He does, and that Rookie of the Year battle, Coley was looking like he was going to run away with it. Well, he got involved in that incident earlier in this race. He's sitting in 17th, while Mackey sits 13th, so 4 points will be the difference, I believe, going into Fontana, unless Mackey can get one more spot from Abel here. And that'll be a good Rookie of the Year battle to keep track of, is this championship battle might be over here after this race comes to an end. Looks like Wright's going to choose the outside lane, and that will leave, I believe, Chris Samard on the outside. Loveland's got to get on the inside. I don't know if Loveland knows. He's got to get down here. All right, well, we'll figure it out here. I don't know if we're going to let the restart go.
Oh, there we go.
He's getting... All right.
I was starting to hold my breath there for everybody else.
Yeah, here we go now. And now, can Chris Samard time it right? Can he get a chance to get at Jeff Wright? Green, white, checkered. Attempt number 1 here at Bristol. Into the restart zone they go. He gets off and away. Away goes Jeff Wright. Spinning the tires is Loveland, and Samard can't seem to find enough fire off. Can he get there? Can Ronis have something for him? Wright pulls away. Coming to the start-finish line. White flag. One more lap to go for the Last Great Colosseum. Wright looking to get his second championship in a row. Third all time. Off of 2. Samard challenges bottom, but it won't be enough. Into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Jeff Wright is a 3-time champion at Bristol, and they slide and collide behind. Hard hits for Loveland, and Hayes in my auto takes another big shot with Osler. But it's over. Jeff Wright wins at Bristol.
That's a whole lot of piling in there at the very, very end.
On a big wreck to end the carnage. And I have to think Jeff Wright has locked that championship up. And he is a 3-time champion, joining Seth Hatchell as the only 2 drivers to make it 3 times and 2 times in a row. And Jeff Wright, I think his 12th win on the season, dominating fashion there at the end. What a race, what a finish. And how about Max Cost in 4th?
And Max pulled out a great finish here tonight. That's a big confidence booster going into next season, no matter how you finish out here in the rest of the playoffs. Just one more race to go. But Alec, what do you say we send it to a quick commercial break? Be coming right back with our Pro Series coverage and interviews with our top 3.
Sounds good.
Sailor Tarot Magic is the spot to get a reading from Sally, an intuitive healer and tarot reader. Known as the Nurturing Reader at New Jersey Street Fairs, you can also check out our YouTube channel for lunar and astro readings, as well as our Instagram for live weekly readings. Her rates are affordable, and you will leave with a newfound perspective. Sally is now offering an introductory class on tarot cards and intuition, and is available for parties. Call or text 732-314-0777 to schedule your reading today.
And back live here at the Bristol Motor Speedway after the Affinity for Gaming 225, and what was an absolute wild race here from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Take a look at our finishing results here from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Jeff Wright is the winner, and what we all believe has clinched his third championship and his second championship in a row. Angelo Ronis, in his return back to BTDY, comes home second. Chris Samard was third. Max Koss gets a career best finish at Bristol with fourth. James Loveland is fifth. Ronnie Osmer sixth. Keith Mayato and Brody Hays tried, but they're going to end up seventh and eighth. And Dennis Faircloth will come home in ninth, and Ryan Phillips gets a top 10.
To round out the rest of our field, Dallas Sullivan with a heavily damaged car at the end of this race comes home in 11th. Chase Abel takes up the 12th finishing spot. Jake Mackey takes a 13 to the 13th spot to end out the day. James Barker takes home 14th. Alan Dice, not the number that he's supposed to have, and the luck did not fall through with it. Finishes out in 15th. Todd Giles Jr. in 16th on the night. Last three, Jace Coley in 17th. Cody Adkins with some bad luck tonight as well. Finishes out 18th. And one driver we never did see out here tonight, the 19 of Joe Mitchell.
And he was in 19th. That rounds up the 19-car field. And we'll talk to our top three, where I believe Logan is standing down here with Chris Samard, who finished in third place position.
Now we've got Chris Samard. You know, I say it every time, Chris, but you can't be sorry about a third place finish.
I can't. Especially, if you had asked me if I was going to finish third, like halfway through the race, I would have said absolutely not. So I'm pretty happy about this one. To be honest, I was pretty crappy there in the middle part of the race. I just didn't have the speed, but top three is, I don't know. I feel like I lucked into that one. So
luck it may be, but still a top three. Might want to write that one down for the rhyme book. However, you did have speed pretty well all throughout this race. You ran some of the faster laps here, equal to, I think, actually, looking at the board, you've got the second fastest lap out of the entire group, maybe the third fastest. So you had speed. You just untimely time to find it way late in the race. Maybe if you found that a little bit earlier, do you think you had more of a contention up there for that number one spot?
I might have if I found it earlier. I felt like I saved a lot there. And I started to move up towards the front. I got up to fifth, I think, or fourth. And then it just took a nosedive, and the front end couldn't turn anymore. And I went backwards, and I'm just lucky the cautions fell where they went, because if they didn't, I was going to be, a lap or two down. But be that as it may, like I said, I'm very happy with third place. I think short run speed was my benefit for tonight. So.
Well, it sure looked like it out there, Chris. Anybody you'd like to say thanks to for taking home third place tonight?
Oh, you guys up in the booth, you guys do a great job. I love going back. I say that every week, but I really do love going back to watching the broadcast. My teammates at VSPEED, my wife and son, and I'm happy to see Seth starting to race again a little bit. That's a really good sign. So I'm happy about that, and that's about it.
Well, congratulations, buddy. We'll see you next week whenever we head out to California to take on the championship race at Auto Club.
Yes, sir. Have a good one, fellas.
Hey, good run, Chris.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I guess we're going to hustle on down here to catch up with the 29 now of Angelo Hronis, who sits on the second step of the podium. Angelo, you had quite the run. Went from 8th to 2nd here to finish out the race. One of our biggest movers of the race. What was it like taking that 29 through a good majority of this pack?
It was definitely an entertaining race. First thing, I know I mentioned it before to him, but apologies to Keith. That was just boneheaded move on my end under caution. Thought I gave him enough room, but I just wasn't paying attention. So that's definitely a lesson for myself and just others. That's definitely dumb. I would have felt even worse if I somehow came away with the win, just because I ruined his car But other than that, I mean, the race itself, the second half was definitely fun after getting that short pit done. I thought I did a decent job when it came to saving the tires near the end, and I was banking on that caution to happen. But all in all, I don't know if I had anything for Jeff, Keith, or Brody if that went to the green for the checkered flag. But either way, learned some things with this car and this track that it was a fun night.
So would you say that those cautions were a big factor for you here in coming away with the top three, or do you feel pretty confident? You looked great out there, turning some of the faster laps. I was just talking to Chris. He had the third fastest lap on the night. You had the second fastest lap on the night, only being trumped by Brody Hays with a 14.908 to your 14.938.
Yeah, I mean, I still think the 37, 36, and 48, those were the guys to beat near the end if it went green to checkered. But I was going to say, I thought it was a solid P4 before all that. I think the 0-2 was closing in on me as well. But yeah, without those cautions, I think it was going to be between one of those three. But it's just the way the racing goes, especially short track racing. I just lucked in with the cautions, so I'm happy to come away with P2.
Absolutely. Well, you made it look good out here tonight, Angelo. Anybody you'd like to say thanks to before we depart from you?
Congrats to Jeff for the win. All my teammates who couldn't make it tonight with Sad Boys, all the participants in this league, those who run it, you guys for the broadcast, all the sponsors. Haven't been here too many nights this season, but anytime I appear, it's always a good time.
Absolutely. Love having you here, Angelo. We'll see you next week when we go to the championship race, buddy.
Thank you.
Good run, Angelo. Rally the troops next week, buddy.
Thank you.
That's Angelo Ronas, second place finisher, and go up to our winner, and I'd have to thank Logan, our champion of the season, Jeff Wright. Alec and Logan in the VSPEED booth, buddy. You got a copy?
I got a copy.
Well, man, I think to make it even more ecstatic after a wild race there, I'd have to say you're probably the champion and have it locked up going into Auto Club next week, buddy. 2 in a row, 3 of all time here, tying Seth Hatchell. How does it feel after that wild race?
Yeah, it was wild for sure. It was a very different Bristol race than I think we've ever had. And obviously I think that's just the new scan. And, you know, iRacing says it's just new artwork, but man, that's a brand new track out there. That doesn't feel anything like old Bristol. So it was kind of just a learning process the whole race. I really struggled early on, and you kind of saw, you know, like Keith and Brody and, you know, Ronnie, they kind of drove away from everybody else. And I knew I just had to get to pit lane and adjust the way I was driving a little bit, and was able to hold them off. But I shout out Keith for just driving me so clean tonight, man. We battled hard. It was hard racing, but I mean, he could have just moved me a handful of times, and he's a clean guy. So, not expecting to get roughed up or anything, but he definitely had the opportunity. He was a lot faster than me, had the tire advantage. So I just appreciate him racing me really hard, but also really clean. That was some of the most fun racing I've ever had here on iRacing.
Absolutely. Look like a fun time. And next week, obviously, we're going out to Auto Club, and I don't think you're going to have to really worry too much on points-wise, but how does it feel to go out there again knowing that you're probably going to be the champion, depending on, you know, what all happens?
Yeah, I don't know where the numbers are at or anything, but I just know anything could happen. I mean, you know, the last 2 weeks I've finished tail end of the pack, you know, some of my doing, some of just some bad luck. But yeah, hopefully it's a full race worth of points and we can go in there and just try to go for the win and not really have to worry about the points racing situation. I think Brody and Keith got in, I think, a little bit of trouble there somewhere in the middle, late stages of the race. So the fact that we finished ahead of them, we're at least going to get a little bit of points on them, but I don't know if it's a full race or not. But yeah, Auto Club's a fun racetrack. It's cool to have our finale there. And obviously always a multi-groove type of racetrack. So I can't wait to get out there. And the goal's going to try to go out and get another win, try to cap the season off with a W, but that's hard to do in this league. And man, how about Ronnie Osmer with those 2 tires? I didn't think we were going to get around him. He fired off so quick there that I thought that was maybe the race-winning move. But it's just so much fun out here racing with these guys, and try to go get one more here before the end of the season.
Absolutely. Hey, well, we appreciate your time, Jeff. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to here for a nice performance in this win?
Yeah, first and foremost, entire broadcast crew, you guys are best in the business up in the booth, and I really mean that. VSPEED puts on such an incredible product. Obviously, all the league admins here at BTDY putting this event on and putting this series on. We've been racing here a long time, and these guys do a great job, and I really enjoy racing here, so shout them out. And obviously all of the sponsors that make this thing happen too. So try to name them all, KHIO, Affinity for Gaming, Up There Disc Golf, Sailor Terra Magic. Hopefully I'm not forgetting one, but if I am, I apologize. And then lastly, just got to give Max Costa a shout out. How about P4 for Max tonight? I think that's what he said his best finish in BTDY. And also he hit my phone up before the race and reminded me, hey, you need to get in the race server right now because I kind of lost track of time. I was still on the road headed home, so I had to put the pedal to the metal a little bit here to rush home and get in this session before I went live. So got to credit Max Cost for that as well.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate your time, Jeff. Congratulations. And look forward to seeing you next week at Auto Club where we'll look like we're crowning you champion, buddy.
All righty. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Right. Thank you, Jeff. And that's Jeff Wright, your winner here for tonight's race from the Bristol Motor Speedway. And Logan, we'll see how many cars show up, but man, what a race we saw tonight. And even if Jeff is champion for this season, what a good race we have coming up for the final race of the year at Auto Club. I'm looking forward to it.
Auto Club is going to really set the standard for how this season has gone all season long. The whole entire thing has been just fantastic from start to end. And what a race we had here at Bristol. Those long green flag runs that we're so used to with this crew. And, just like Jeff had said, it drove like a whole different track. We saw so many different grooves being used tonight. What a fantastic update here for iRacing at Bristol. Couldn't ask for a better race to go into a championship race for.
Oh, absolutely. Going to be an awesome race here next week. Join us next week here live on VSPEED at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the finale race at the Auto Club Speedway, and what should be a wild one to cap it off. My name is Alec Martinez, and joining me tonight was my co-host and my producer, Logan Thurkel. It was an honor and a pleasure to have this night with you. Thank you to all the sponsors and everybody here at VSPEED and everybody here at BTDY. We'll be looking forward to seeing you once again next week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the season finale for the BTDY Racing Series at the Auto Club Speedway. Until then, have a wonderful evening and a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week from California.
Sailor Tarot Magic is the spot to get a reading from Sally, an intuitive healer and tarot reader. Known as the Nurturing Reader at New Jersey street fairs, you can also check out our YouTube channel for lunar and astro readings, as well as our Instagram for live weekly readings. Her rates are affordable, and you will leave with a newfound perspective. Sally is now offering an introductory class on tarot cards and intuition, and is available for parties. Call or text 732-314-0777 to schedule your reading today.